This report brought to you by the Richmond Club, where investors and high-growth companies meet.
It is my pleasure to introduce our next speaker. With us today, we have Dr. Tom Morris, President and CEO of Northern Superior Resources. Tom?
Thank you very much, Alicia, and thank you, Richmond Club, for having me back. Great group of people to work with, and I really appreciate the opportunity being here today. So Northern Superior Resources, who are we? Well, we're a junior mineral exploration company that essentially searches for gold in the provinces of Ontario and Quebec. We trade on the TSX Venture Exchange under the symbol SUP, and also on the OTCQ board in the United States under the symbol NSUPF. So our business plan is pretty simple. As mentioned, we search for gold in the provinces of Ontario and Quebec. And the way we go about doing this is to extract from an extensive geoscientific database, which I've been working on since 2002, where we select regions within Ontario and Quebec to explore for gold, where we think we have high potential for finding it. We go do our exploration. If we're fortunate enough, able to define some significant gold on that property, we then pass it up to a strategic partner, preferably a mid-tier to major mining company, to allow them to continue developing the property going forward. We have a number of properties currently staked, but we are only focused on two this year. Two key properties: our Tippecanoe property in northwestern Ontario, where a strategic partner is to spend $10 million over the next 4 years to earn in, and also our Lac Supérieur property in west central Quebec. And I'll get both to those momentarily. We've had a number of significant achievements over the last few months, but I guess the three important ones is first the acquisition of that strategic partner in Yamana Gold. And the reason why that was important is you'll see when I get into discussing the property, it is a large district scale opportunity. And when I say TPK, I need you to think of a gold camp. So I'm talking something like Rouen or Timmins. I'm not a marketer, I'm a geologist. And one reason I love presenting this company is because I let the geology speak for itself. And when you see the data, I think you'll see why I'm saying camp. In terms of corporate management, the other thing we did at the end of 2018 was a financing of $1 million. And this was important for two reasons. One, it facilitated a much needed consolidation of our shares. We were sitting at 420 million shares outstanding, and we are essentially a sitting duck in the market. So we needed to address that before commodity markets started to change, and we did that. The $1 million is also going to be directed towards our Lac Supérieur property in west central Quebec, where we are going to undertake a core drilling program at the end of Q3. Exploration programs. With Yamana's first $2 million expenditure on our TPK property, we were mandated to find one gold-bearing shear system on one part of the property that could host an economic deposit of gold. Somewhat of a miracle, but we in fact intersected 8. Lac Supérieur, we've already initiated a drone-supported survey to essentially get a better sense of the magnetic data on the northern part of this property specifically, and I'll talk a little bit why that's important when we get to Supérieur. But we will be drilling that property at the end of Q3. And we did finish a very early stage exploration program on a grassroots property, which I won't talk about today, called Wapistan. But again, there, with very little money spent, we found an additional 4 showings on that property. Myself, I've been involved in this industry for over 40 years, and you know as well as I do, though, you're only as good as the people around you. And I think you've heard that a few times already today. I'm very fortunate to have a good group of financial and technical people on my board of directors. Francois Perron and Andrew Farncombe, who work out of Toronto here, some of you may know them, have a long history in the junior exploration space, managing and helping manage junior exploration companies like Northern Superior. The technical people, John Kiernan, Art Murdy, and Dave Beilhartz, again, are excellent people with a tremendous success record under their belt, in particular Dave Beilhartz, who represents Eric Sprott on our board of directors. I mentioned myself as the president and CEO. We only have 4 full-time people on this on staff for Northern Superior. There's myself, Roxanne Gélineau, my office manager, and under the technical team, Jonathan O'Callaghan and Matt Sully. Now, it's important to realize, though, that we have a very deep pool of geotechnical people that we can draw from, both geologists as well as prospecting teams. The other 2 management people that I should mention is Dan Rothberg and Janine Webb, who also both have a long history in the junior exploration space. So let me get into the properties. I love talking about Tippecanoe because In working 40 years in this industry, I've never seen an opportunity like this within a junior explorer's portfolio. It is a remarkable opportunity containing unique geology, and you'll see what I'm talking about in a moment. Not only does it contain one mineral system, but in fact we have two mineral systems contained within the boundaries of this property. It's 100% Northern Superior. To move this property along, I did acquire Yamana in November of 2018. We are the operator. Under the terms of the agreement, we are only supposed to be there 1 year. Yamana liked the job we did so much they asked us to remain through the period of the option earn-in. We also work very well with First Nation in this area, and this project is operated under an early exploration benefits agreement with the local First Nation Nisga'a. I love to explore, and I hate the concept of going into a crowded camp to fight your way in to get some property and essentially recycle an old story. This is a brand new opportunity in a brand new part of the province of Ontario with significant discovery. It is 30 kilometers east-west by 20 kilometers north-south. We've reduced our operating costs quite significantly by establishing a year-round camp with trail systems extending out to main targets in the Big Dam area. The geology, and I'm not going to inundate you with geological information, but in every single Archean age camp in Canada, you always find the gold camps associated with a major inflection in a fault with secondary splays coming off of it. I'm showing you here the Val d'Or camp. We have exactly the same system occurring up here and on our TPK property with the main Stallweneman fault, secondary splays coming off that with significant evidence for gold sitting in here. So the geology is right. We have the structure to allow gold-bearing fluids to move into this area, geochemical and physical traps to precipitate significant economic quantities of gold into this system. Now I mentioned we have two systems. I also mentioned I wanted you to think district scale. This dashed line here that runs across the middle part of the property represents 35 kilometers of fertile ground. This colorful magenta type color that you see just down ice or south of that line is arsenic, which is a pathfinder for gold. I could have showed you gold, I could have showed you gold grains. The point is, we have tremendous opportunity across 35 kilometers of strike length here. Now I'm going to focus in on this area of the property here because that's where a lot of our work is being done. And I'm showing you this mass of yellow dots up here on this upper left-hand diagram. That is an absolute unique geological feature. I can tell you, you will not find something like this anywhere else in North America. That mass of yellow dots represents a painstaking sample of till or overburden from which you extract gold grains from. If you get 15 to 25 gold grains out of a bag of dirt, that launches exploration programs. We're getting upwards of over 1,200 gold grains in some of these samples. 6 kilometers. You may have just recently read about Atlantic Gold being taken out by an Australian consortium for $803 million. They have a gold grain dispersal train on that property that has a highest number of gold grains of 162 grains. The dispersal train is less than 200 meters wide and only about 300 meters in dispersion. So what I'm trying to emphasize here is size and opportunity. There are not very many things you can say with certainty in the geosciences. The one thing I can say with certainty here is that there must be significant amount of visible gold in the bedrock surface for glacial ice to scrape and erode, transport, and deposit so much gold in the surface environment. I'm going to come back with another example for you in a couple of slides. If you don't understand gold grains, how about gold-bearing boulders? We have quite a lot of them that we've recognized here in just this part of the property. And I've drawn a direct comparison to Agnico Eagle's Nelligan deposit up in Nunavut. And you can see with upwards of 94.2 grams per ton gold in one of these boulders, we blow away what Nelligan has reported in their 43101 report. They poured their first bar of gold just a few months ago. So what did we discover this past spring? As I said, we were mandated to find one gold-bearing shear structure on this part of the property called Big Dam. So we're only looking at this part of the property. We, in fact, have discovered 8 of these things. And each one has the size and opportunity to host an economic deposit, and I'll put the S in there for plural, along each one of these structures. So the opportunity here, as the gold grains and gold-bearing boulders have suggested, is huge. This is the NARR gold deposit run by TMAC up here in Nunavut. This is quite typical of what you see with gold grain dispersal trains. It's about 200 meters wide with a fairly decent dispersal down ice from it. 6.4 million tons at 8.4 grams per ton gold, and so far they've established a resource of 1.73 million tons gold. We blow that away with the Big Dam Apron alone being 6 times larger than this. The second mineral system is different. It's a gold, silver, copper system and found on the north part of the property called Annex. I won't say a lot about this because we haven't done much work here, but I want you to note that this is, and I'm saying this tongue-in-cheek, only 3.5 kilometers wide with a 13.5 kilometer dispersal. Gold grain counts up over 1,200. And again, look at the boulder values, are spectacular. I challenge you to find another junior explorer out there with this kind of opportunity within its portfolio. I can guarantee you, you won't. The other property I'll mention briefly is our Lac Surprise property up here. It's a little different in the sense that it is in an established area, one of the most prolific gold-producing regions on the planet, the Abitibi. Chapet-Chibougamau just to the north, providing all kinds of supplies and services required not just to explore, but also to develop a mine. In fact, we're very close to an operating system for processing gold up in Chibougamau here, only 40-odd kilometers away. Big property again, 20 by 20. So again, we have lots of space. Nobody can tie on to what we know is on here, except that we just happen to have a company called Yamana Gold, a major producer, that tied onto our property. Their Nelligan deposit here, they put out some very impressive numbers on this back on May 30th. That deposit projects within 500 meters of the eastern part of our property. We know that we have the same type of rocks from which Nelligan's being developed from. We have gold grain dispersal trains in here, and we also have some spectacular showings in here that are running upwards to almost 20 grams per ton gold. As mentioned, we're flying an airborne supported drone survey up here on the north part of the property, and the idea here is to essentially help us establish targeting for a Q3 core drill program, which we're really looking forward to getting involved with in just a few weeks. So why invest in Northern Superior? Well, first and foremost, people. We have an excellent team to help not just move the properties, but the company as well, to provide some real value for our shareholders. The properties themselves, every single property we have is based on solid science. Every property that we're carrying right now has the potential to host a gold deposit. And third and last is opportunity. I think I've positioned this company extremely well to take advantage of the turnaround in the commodities market, which I believe is about to happen. We have the people, we have the financial resources, and we have the product in our properties to really provide value to our current stable of shareholders and new ones that we are expecting to come on board. Thank you very much.
If you enjoyed this video, please let us know. You've been watching the Richmond Club Report. If you've just come across this channel, please feel free to like and subscribe. I'm sure you'll find a lot of interesting and lucrative investment and trading ideas around here. We'll see you again soon on the next video. Cheers, guys. Have an amazing and profitable day.